Next up, we got going over some hockey terminology. Now, y'all know I'm a new fan, you know what I'm saying? Really trying to understand the game. A lot of y'all actually been complimenting me, saying that I pick up fast. All right, and that's one thing about me ever since a kid. I just pick up things fast. Like, I don't know, I'm just a very versatile person. You know what I mean? I'm not just stuck in one lane. Like, I could do a lot of things. I could be good at a lot of things. Like, all video games, I'm good at every game, bro. It's not one game I'm not good at. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's literally crazy. So it's crazy y'all picked up on that. But we have some hockey terminology now. Let me know if it's any terminology I'm missing. All right. But shout out to the hockey guy. You know what I'm saying? My guy. So hey, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.
I want to talk to fans who might be new to the game. Now, here's the thing. I put a whole bunch of different slang terms from the hockey world on the board. If you're a hockey fan and you're watching this and you're like, hey, why doesn't he have these ones on there? I just tried to put up the ones that are most likely to come up most often for new hockey fans, I think. But any other slang hockey terms you can think of, throw them in the comment section below as well.
And so also, too, let me know. Because we finna, like, I'm trying to do more, like, reactions on the whole sport in general. Not just the game reactions. Even though the playoffs is here. You know what I mean? But I don't want to just, limit myself to the playoffs. So y'all can let me know, too, in the comments. Any players you want me to check out. Biggest hits. Something like that. Compilation videos. Just let me know in the comments. I got y'all.
We're going to go through this. And, well, by we, I mean I'm going to go through this. I'm going to try to explain this as well as I can. And honestly, some of this is common in hockey, and some of it's just stuff that I might use a lot in videos when I do reviews. So I want to explain this now, and there's other things I'm going to mention that aren't on the board too. So let's go ahead and dive in. You're going to hear a lot about dirty dangles, filthy dangles, which I think seems pretty self-explanatory, that this is when you're stick handling, and it may result in a goal, it may not. Doesn't always result in one, but I know even over the summer playing street hockey, it's a term I use a lot, where somebody scores a goal and I go, man, that was filthy. That just what a filthy goal that was. That was amazing, kind of thing, right? So that's a pretty common terminology you'll hear a lot with hockey games and hockey goals. The Gordie Howe hat trick, if it hasn't already been explained to fans of Seattle or new fans to the game, because it's not just Seattle, you're always getting new fans to the game. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, the hockey community is not always the most welcoming of new fans. And if you don't understand the terminology, they may look down at you and go, how do you not know what that is? So a Gordie Howe hat trick simply is a player who in the same game gets a goal, an assist, and a fight.
What the hell?
Curtis Gabriel for Toronto was close to that in the first preseason game, where he had a goal, he had a fight, he did not have the assist. So he had 2/3 of a Gordie Howe hat trick. Civ, pretty self-explanatory again, but again, I'm saying that from a hockey fan perspective. It's a goaltender's just not making a save. And the terminology as well of couldn't stop a beach ball. That's terminology that I've used a lot. I've certainly seen some Photoshop pictures of goaltenders with beach balls in the net behind them. I feel bad for the goaltender, and yet I understand the thought process, and I find them humorous on some level as well. Bar down is a term you're going to hear a lot as well. Now, very popular hockey website as well. But bar down is reference to a puck that hits the top bar and goes down into the net. It is really that simple. Bar and down into the net.
Okay.
And I gotta say, when you hit those, even if you don't mean to, you're kind of like, hey, so that one went bar down. And then you look over at your wife and you realize she's not recording, so nobody will ever know that it happened or believe you. So the kind of shots, too. A slap shot is a big wind-up. You don't see slap shots in the game as much now.
See, I think that's what I've been... Okay, so snapshot, slap shot, and wrist shot. I be confused on which one is which. I be thinking just everything's a slap shot. I ain't know it's different ones. Actually.
Years ago. Because they're not very accurate. A snap shot is a little more accurate than a slap shot, which has a shorter wind-up and a bigger follow-through. But the one you're going to see the most is a wrist shot, where they flick the wrist.
Right.
And it's a better shot, but it's one you're gonna want to use in close. So
is a wrist shot, is that hard to do though? Like, don't you have to? You gotta be like super strong, like to be able to just use your wrist and just flick it perfect accuracy and speed. That's crazy. That's crazy. I always give praise to anybody who plays hockey because this is a hard sport, bro. You know what I mean? I know. I told y'all I'm good at. I play multiple sports. I play football, baseball, and I ran track. I was good at all of them. You know what I mean? And I told you about the games, but I know if I get out here and try to learn hockey, I couldn't do it like how y'all do it, bro. And that's coming from somebody who's good at everything. So that's how I know it's hard. You know, I could literally just look out there like, yeah, bro. yeah. Y'all. So shout out to all y'all who play hockey. Bro,
it's a better shot, but it's one you're gonna want to use in close. So those are the three most common, and there's other kinds of shots as well. But yeah, it is again pretty self-explanatory to me as a hockey fan. But somebody who's new, they might be like wrist shot. So it's a flick of the wrist kind of thing. It's something I've been trying to teach our daughter a little bit because I'm like, if you want to look like, you know what you're doing with this. If you can practice this and get this down, it'll raise some eyebrows. Turtle. This is in reference. There's two things. One, you can look at it and say that guy's down on the ice protecting himself from somebody who might punch him. B, that person isn't exactly the most courageous. And rather than answer the bell, which is a terminology for, being willing to fight somebody, they instead cover up and fall down and turtle. And it's
I think I remember this. I think they were saying like turtle is somebody who kind of just who's scared. I don't think hockey fans respect somebody like this.
A good term. It's not one that I think players are willing to own. They're like, yeah, I turtled a lot when I was a player. I'm pretty good at turtling. Red light. The red light, of course, is the goal light. The red light's the goal light. The green light's at the end of the period's end of the game. And a terminology I've heard a lot is the goaltender has a sunburn on the back of his neck. This means that the red light has been on so much behind him that he may have a sunburn from it. Okay. That's terminology I remember hearing back to, and I hate to say Andre Rasico days, but that's where I first heard it. And I feel bad for Andre Rasico when I say that because he was known as Red Light Rasico. Because, yeah, it was too bad too because his career started off pretty well and then just... So the trap. Trap hockey you're going to hear about. It's defense first. It is basically you're capitalizing on turnovers, on getting the other team to make mistakes. And it's changed. So what the trap used to be and what the trap is now, they're completely different. To the point where when I talk about a team using the trap, fans of those teams won't be very happy, but I'm not saying it like a 90s trapping style, because the way that the trap used to be was just everybody played back and there was no offense, and there weren't very many shots. Now teams that play the trap might allow 30, 35 shots, but all of their shots are going to be from the outside. They block out to the outside. They make sure nobody's getting to the net. And they take advantage of turnovers. So they might get outshot a lot, but they're probably going to win their share of games too. So, and in Seattle's case, that may be the way they have to play as well, because they're going to be better defensively than offensively, you would think, in year one. Garbage goal. Garbage goal, there's various discussions about what truly is a garbage goal. To me, it's anything within a few inches of the net where maybe it's that third or fourth shot that goes in. It's also called a greasy goal. But to me, a garbage goal also may be that my teammate passes it to me and I've got an open net, or yawning cage, which is another word for the open net in front of me, and I just kind of just push it in.
Cage.
And it doesn't feel like a goal, but they all count. And I say that a lot in reviews too. They all count. They're all the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yawning cage, garbage goal. To me, just shoving it into the net. One of the easiest goals you'll ever have in your life. You kind of have your head down like, that doesn't count as a goal. And this is why when people talk about goals being more important than assists, I have some issue with that on some level, because there are some really fantastic assists that set up some pretty easy goals as well.
Yeah. Because you think about it, we've seen some in the playoffs already. So, okay. So it's crazy that's even a comparison, because usually I've never heard that in like no other sport. Assists is almost better than goals. That's crazy. Let me know in the comments how y'all feel. Assists better than goals. That's crazy.
Icing, of course, is where you play the puck, you shoot it into the opposing zone. Some really fantastic assisting, of course, is where you play the puck, you shoot as well. Icing, of course, is where you play the puck, you shoot it into the opposing zone from your side of center ice. and if nobody touches it, then they blow the whistle. If your team, the defending team, is going to be the first one to the puck. And there are a lot of debates about that. So you have to be the first one to the hash marks, which is the lines and the circles. And basically, you're going to hear this debate a lot this year, so I don't want to get into all the explanation of it. You're going to hear a lot of debates about referees blowing the whistle and not allowing, for the other team to have a chance to retrieve the puck and beat out the icing, which teams do. But they had to make it this way because what we were seeing in hockey before was guys would go to play it. There was no automatic icing, and guys were getting absolutely blown up into the boards going back on an icing play. So you were seeing guys getting hit head first into the boards, guys getting injured backs and necks from an icing play, and it was ridiculous. So the NHL's made it so that they just blow the whistle on icing, and sometimes they should, sometimes they shouldn't. There are
times. Didn't they say icing is when you basically just hit it on the other side of the rink, and I think it said three red lines, then it's icing. I don't know if that's an old rule or a new rule, because I think that y'all was telling me when I reacted to that last video that it was bad. It was both the videos. I guess it was outdated, or it just wasn't explained the right way. So I don't even know what all the hockey, because the video I reacted to was like hockey rules, understanding hockey rules. So I thought I learned a lot that video. You know what I'm saying? But I guess not. I guess not. So that's what I think icing is. Let me know in the comments. Is that icing? And then he said, wait, what did he say?
They just blow the whistle on icing, and sometimes they should, sometimes they shouldn't. There are times where players...
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Yeah, because I be seeing it at the end of the game. People would just, like, hit it to the other side, and then the time will run out. So I be thinking, like, is it icing? But I guess since the time is running out, there's no point to call a penalty when the game's over. So I guess that's probably the reason. I forget about that,
too. Icing, and sometimes they should, sometimes they shouldn't. There are times where players will argue they've reached the blue line or they haven't, or whatever it is. And so that's a debate that goes on during games. You'll see fans debating about whether or not an icing should have been called, which is where I use the term play to the whistle, which means if a defenseman's kind of lagging back, like, all right, so this is an icing, and he's kind of let up, and then they wave off the icing, so the linesman, the referee decide, no, this is not an icing. And then it's, oh, crap, I better start playing. Play the whistle. Play as hard as you can until you hear that whistle to close out the play, because there are a lot of times where a player will assume it's going to be an icing and they kind of let up, and then the puck's in the back of their net. Offsides. I know this was explained during last night's game between Seattle and Vancouver. I will give a quick explanation here. A player cannot precede the puck into the offensive zone. If an opposing player is in the offensive zone and the puck comes out, they now have to clear before the puck can come back in again. Unless the defending...
Actually, you know what you're going to do? Haha. This is perfect. So, we're going to try to go... Actually, no, I'm going to wait. After he get done, we're going to try to see if we can go down every single one and see if I can explain it.
Brings it in their own zone. The puck can come back in again. Yeah. Unless... the defending team brings it in their own zone themselves, and then in again. Out of zone, and the puck comes out, they now have to clear before the puck can come back in again. Unless the defending team brings it in their own zone themselves, and then they're not offside. So basically, the defending team can't create an offside with a guy who's cherry picking. Cherry picking, of course. If you've played soccer, you know what cherry picking is. I know during my elementary and middle school days, yelling out, so you're cherry picking, you want to come back? It does happen with hockey too, where you have players that cheat to the neutral zone outside of the defensive zone. They kind of cheat out, like, I could be back helping my teammates defensively, but I'm just going to hang out here just in case they get that puck, and they give it to me, and then I have a breakaway in front of me, and then the puck ends up in their net, and they're like, I was ready. Exactly. 5-hole. 5-hole is a puck. Is a goal that goes between the legs of the goaltender. So if they score 5-hole, this is a bad thing. This is where goalies should be able to stop the puck. They're goals that, whether it's right or wrong, will often result in goaltenders being seen as having a bad night, where they're like, well, that was 5-hole.
See, that's the crazy part, though, because I've been seeing some goals that's like, it throw them off guard. You know, they hit it because, you know, obviously the 5-hole, it's like I said, it's like the easiest one. So the player would like basically fake him out. You know what I mean? He would fake him out and then hit it 5-hole, which I think is very smart because it's one that they least expecting. You know what I mean? And it's very like a kind of like a cheap shot, not a cheap shot, but you know, just catch you off guard. Basically, what it is. So I think it's smart. I be seeing something like that.
Result in goaltenders being seen as having a bad night, where they're like, well, "That was 5-hole. That shouldn't have happened." Of course, you have glove side, you have blocker side, and you'll hear about where goalies might be weaker. With the way that the game is now, honestly, there's not a lot of weaknesses with goaltenders. Often it's referred to as high glove, meaning they have the gloved hand, they have the blocker hand. You shoot towards the glove hand, you shoot towards the top of the net. With a lot of goalies, that'll be the best place to shoot. Some of them have very good glove hands, but in most cases, that will probably be the best place to get a goal. Tic-tac-toe, this is simply a pass to pass and then a goal. So it's one guy to a second to a third, and the third guy gets the goal in the net. And I usually refer to it as a nice three-way pass. And that's the, you know, center might pass it to the wing, who passes it behind the net to the other winger, and then it's in their net. Tic-tac-toe goal, and it's in the net. Home run pass. There's been other Hail Mary pass is also something I've heard. So this is basically that you're back in your own zone, you've got the puck, and usually it's a lob pass, so they flip it through the air, and they're trying to get it to somebody who's at center ice, who's going streaking the other way. Watch any Vegas game, Alex Tuck. Alex Tuck is the master of what I refer to as a home run pass. And then, of course, people will correct you. Well, it's not a home run because there's not 4 runs scored. And it's not I don't know why you call it a home run, because he's got the whole, it's just the whole arena is his. Anyways, so again, so making sure this terminology is up there, I would use in review videos. Wraparound is simply a goal from the back of the net. What's interesting to me is that wraparound goals, it feels like weren't a thing in the 80s, and now they are. So it's weird, because it used to be that if it was a wraparound goal, you go, man, how did that goalie should have stopped that. But now players are a lot faster, and it just feels like those wraparound plays are a little more dangerous than they were in the 80s. So what would have been seen as a really kind of soft goal is now seen as being a pretty one. But yeah, that's your wraparound goal. Suicide pass. I don't see this as much as I used to, and yet I feel like guys are still being set up for this. This is where you pass it to your teammate, and they're going to get drilled. They're going to get hit pretty hard. And so what you've done is...
I be saying the same thing when it comes to NFL, because I be saying the quarterback be throwing it to their receivers, and they know they're going to get hit hard. Like, they literally throwing it right in front. They like, say it's a quick slant, you know what I mean? They literally running, and the defender right here, he's running towards, he'll throw the ball. He obviously gonna get annihilated. You know what I'm saying? So why would you even throw it, bro? And I be saying too, the quarterbacks honestly don't give a fuck. They don't care. The quarterbacks do not care, bro. It's not them getting hurt. Think about it. Why would they care? They trying to get a completion. The only thing that matters in their mind is stats. So they won't get cut. You know what I mean, bro? Which I think is the worst thing, bro. The worst thing ever.
And they're going to get drilled. They're going to get hit pretty hard. And so what you've done is you've made a pass to your teammate that could end up getting them injured, because they're going to get absolutely drilled to the ice. And so this is a terminology I don't hear as much in hockey as I used to. But yeah, I'm guaranteeing I'll be using that in reviews where I'll say, suicide pass by Marchand to Bergeron. Bergeron got absolutely drilled on the play, and that's what that means, that he passed it to him and he was in a really vulnerable area. Shouldn't have been passed there. The trapezoid is a weird one. I don't like it. I'm going to say straight out, I don't like it. So you have the area directly behind the net where the goalie is allowed to play the puck. That's called the trapezoid. And then you have the area directly behind the net where the goalie is allowed to play the puck. That's called the...
Right. Oh, that's what they call it? Wait, let me see. Wait. Let's look up Cause I was literally just thinking about this the other video. I was literally just saying, what was the name of that? Oh, let me see. Let's go to a hockey game, I guess. I'm not reacting to this game, so I guess you could look at this. So okay. So you talking about this, but it's not a trapezoid. He said the area. What did he say?
The trap is get. So you have the area directly behind the net where the goalie is allowed to play the puck. That's called the
Yeah, right. Okay, so it had to be that then. Okay. Okay.
trapezoid. And so you have the area directly behind the net where the goalie is allowed to play the puck. That's called the trapezoid. And then anything outside of that, if the goalie plays it, it's a penalty. And it was brought in because Marty Brodeur, Marty Turco, a lot of Martys were really good at puck handling, and the NHL decided to discourage that because what was happening was a team would dump the puck in, and then the goalie would come out and dump it right back out. And so there wasn't really any offensive flow to the game, and it took away a lot of the board play. It did protect players like defensemen mainly from injuries, but it also it kind of slowed the speed of the game down. And with guys like Turco and Brodeur especially, yeah, they would just come out. It was like having a third defenseman out there, and they had no problem. So they brought in the trapezoid to punish them and make sure they couldn't come out and play it in some of those areas. And it is weird because there also were goaltenders that would come out that think they were good puck handlers, and they really weren't. And so they'd come out and they'd play it in that area that they're not allowed to anymore, and they'd just cough up the puck, and it would end up in the back of their net, which was entertaining. 5 in a game. So this is one of those review things, and I didn't see this. I went to various websites to try to get as much terminology as possible. 5 in a game is a reference to a 5-minute penalty that also includes a game misconduct. Now, the amount of penalty minutes that you have for a power play where you have the man advantage, if it's just 5 in a game, you get a 5-minute power play, depending on whether there's penalties on the other team too. The game misconduct is actually recorded as 10 minutes in penalties for the player, but you only get the 5 minutes for the power play. The other 10 minutes don't count as a power play. That'd be like almost the entire period. But there are times where a player might get 2 minutes and 5 minutes and a game, and then you have 7 minutes of power play time. Or you might get a double minor and 5 minutes. Might be a 9-minute power play. I don't remember how long was that one power play? Is there like a 7-minute power play last year, or 9-minute power play last year, I think. That just, my head kind of went on that, because it was like 9-minute power play. But yeah, wow. So that happens. Of course, you have 5-on-3 is the most you can have. If you have 3 players on the ice, they have 5. You can't go down to 2. You can get another penalty, but that just extends how long the 5-on-3 lasts. And it doesn't mean that you're going to have a 5-on-2. They don't allow for that. Wow. A bag skate. So this is something that came up when they were talking about the Canucks, and people kind of chuckling about OEL, sucking wind at the end of a bag skate. A bag skate is designed to punish the players. A bag skate is usually for after players have had a bad game. And you skate them until they drop. You just skate them until they drop. It is brutal. And Travis Green in Vancouver is well known for the bag skates. And it's one of those things that I look at and I think, okay, after a bad game I can kind of understand it, but just as a general practice, I don't know, because there's not really a message there. And if poor Conor Garland's throwing up all over the ice, does that put him in better shape?
Too, how like, because if you think about being tired, like your stamina, how bad is the stamina? Like, is it easy to get tired in hockey? Like, if you ever play hockey or you know about it, let me know, because I wonder that too. Like, because they do be, because you would think like they own skates, so they're not like running, but they're still moving their body. Anytime you just move your body for a long time, you gonna get tired. You know what I'm saying? So I think let me know how tiring it really is.
Does that put him in better shape, or I don't know. So yeah, bag skate is pretty brutal. Beaver tap, which is something that I actually get a kick out of. So beaver tap just means you're tapping your stick on the ice to call for the puck. I always get it. I'm always entertained when an opposing player does it. When an opposing player who's out of sight from the guy with the puck taps his stick on the ice to get the puck. Now, there are cases where a young player might beaver tap while a veteran player has the puck, and the veteran gets mad at him for it. Because it's like, look, I can see the ice. Don't you dare beaver tap asking for the puck. I can see the ice. If I think I'm gonna give it to you, then fine. but don't you dare. So there are cases where players don't like it. Terminology I use a lot in reviews, and again, so some of this is just, hockey terminology. Some of it is stuff that I wouldn't think anything of, and longtime hockey fans wouldn't either. But if you're new to the game, you might. Tried to draw a penalty. Some people will say it's diving. So it's a situation where the guy's got the stick near me, and maybe I take hold of his stick, put it around my waist or my stomach, and I'm down. I fell down. Oh, look, his stick. He hooked me. So they're trying to draw a penalty. There have been times where a player has a high stick come near his face and he snaps his head back, and I'll use the terminology, he reacted like he'd been shot. And that's trying to draw a penalty. That is trying to get your team a power play where there isn't one warranted. And there are players who are very good at getting penalties on the other team.
I call these players Hollywood acting right here. This is Hollywood acting, literally. Hollywood acting. It's no way. Especially too if I understand if you like a good player and you do it every once in a while, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But if you try to do it you're not even good at the sport, you're not even good. And you just out there, that's the only way you can try to do anything positive is by Hollywood acting. Come on, bro. Come on.
And there are players who are very good at getting penalties on the other team, even though the other team didn't do anything wrong. And those players are not very popular with opposing fans. They can be called rats, pests. Pest and rat is also in reference to players that chirp a lot on the ice. So players that talk a lot to the opposition, talk a lot of trash. And they actually have every year, they talk about who the best trash talker is in the NHL. Players really pay attention to who's good at the trash talk. And the trash talk now seems to be more about trying to get them off their game, not resorting to the kind of insults they would have been 15, 20 years ago or further back. But they're pretty entertaining, and it's about getting the guy off his game. A good example would be when Esa Tikkanen still with the Oilers and Gretzky's with the Kings. And Tikkanen would follow Gretzky around the ice, talking to him the entire time. Just talking and chatting at him. And Gretzky couldn't understand a word he was saying. Drove him completely insane to the point where when he got to the bench, he was yelling at the other bench for him to shut up. And I'm leaving out a couple of words that was in there as well. So that ability to chirp and to knock the opposition off their game is, if it's done right, it's almost a science. And it's frustrating to the other team's fans and to the other team definitely, but that's how it's designed to work. A scrum, well, this depends on who you ask. A scrum can be in reference to a fight, or it could just be, in many cases, to me, it's just when you see all of the players come together after the whistle. So you have the goalie, usually it's that the goalie covers the puck, and somebody will come in and whack his glove with his stick, and that draws a crowd. Everybody decides to come in and discuss what just took place. And to me, it looks like a rugby scrum where you have everybody lined up on one side and the other and getting ready to play.
It's funny because now that I'm into rugby, I know what that is now. That's crazy. So some of y'all might not have seen it before. I'm going to show y'all. But when I first seen it, though, I'm like, bro, what are y'all doing, bro? Hey, yo. I was like, hey, yo, bro. Hey, yo. I'm like, bro, y'all gotta be smelling each other asses or something, bro. I know some of them getting a couple whiffs. I know it. I just know it.
More of a, you come here a minute, you come here a minute, oh yeah. It's very much like that, like an old Springfield thing. So, yeah, not a lot happens. Usually it's just a couple of gloves to the face, and it usually doesn't result in punches. And usually when I'm doing reviews, I'll even say things like, and some unpleasantness happened.
Also, too, we about 29 minutes into the video. If you made it this far, first of all, I love you. I love you so much. Number 2, to see who watching this far, comment a word, all right? Word of the day, hockey terminology. There you go. Kind of so I know who watching.
Which means that, guys were maybe swearing at each other and just, getting all snippy and upset. Maybe they forgot their birthday, stuff like that. Dump and chase is simply a style of game that I'm not a huge fan of. I'll be honest. I think that teams that just do the dump and chase, it works for some, But it's frustrating when you cheer for a team that does the dump and chase. So that's you get the puck near the blue line and then you dump it in and then you go and retrieve it again. Some cases it works pretty well. Some cases not so much. It's one thing that Toronto's known for, that they don't do the dump and chase, and I kind of agree with them. And I've seen, Kyle Dubas defending that sometimes his defensemen will just bring it right back into their own zone. I think puck possession in today's game is really, really important. So if you dump it in and you're chasing the puck, you've now got probably about a 50-50 chance of recovering it. But if you carry the puck over the blue line and you try to set up, I think that works better. But again, there are some teams that are very good at the dump and chase. Forecheck, backcheck, paycheck. Borrowing this from Letterkenny. Absolutely. And it's right. So forechecking is exactly that. You are checking in the other team's zone. Backchecking, you're checking in your own zone. And if you do both, if you're willing to pay the price at both ends of the ice, you will earn your paycheck. I think it's one of the best things from Letterkenny, because it's true. Players that play well at both ends of the ice will get paid. Whether you score or you don't, you will still get paid. You won't get paid as well as the snipers, the guys who score all the goals. But if you're able to forecheck and backcheck, you will always have a job in the National Hockey League. Fans will like you because you show the effort at both ends of the ice, and you'll get paid. One of the good examples I use for that is William Karlsson in Vegas.
It's actually really just a role player, bro. You're a good role player. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's how you be a real team player, because it's not about one person. It's not about you. The world don't just revolve around you. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you might come. So say like the whole time, as a kid, you a sniper. You score all the goals. You know what I mean? You just that man. But then when you get to the NHL, it's not about you no more. You can't just be shooting all the shots. You know what I mean? Especially since you're new, you're a rookie. It's like, bro, nah, bro. You know what I'm saying? You get on the team with McDavid. You think you about to overshine him? No. No. All right, so you gotta be a good. That's how you be a good team and role player. You know what I'm saying?
The level he shows in his own end as well as at the offensive end, I think is really good. Hands of stone or soft hands. These are two completely opposite terminologies. Soft hands, he just makes it look easy. Guy makes it look easy around the net, and just he might be really good with the passes, really good with the goals. He's very smart offensively, good soft hands, and very accurate with the shooting. Hands of stone is the opposite. Couldn't put the puck in the ocean is a terminology that I've heard before that I really like. I believe I heard that one from Don Cherry the first time I heard it, was this guy couldn't put the puck in the ocean. And it is a good one. Speaking of good ones, there's diving. Diving is exactly what it sounds like, and that you do that to draw a penalty, right? So diving is a penalty, and it's a controversial penalty, because you'll see a player get a tripping call, and then the other player get called on a dive. I don't think that's physically possible. I think if he tripped him and you're giving him a penalty, then the other guy didn't dive because he actually got tripped. But the NHL tries to keep things even, and you'll hear that a lot. Even up calls. Get ready for the refs, even up calls, where maybe you've got 3 power plays. Your team has 3 power plays. The other team will get a power play. Guaranteed. Because there's even up calls. Happens all the time. And you'll hear the announcers saying they gotta watch themselves now because the ref's looking for an even up call. And it is a problem. But that being said, diving, I've always got a kick out of. And Harry Neal, back watching Hockey Night in Canada way back when, used a term that made me laugh so hard the first time I heard it. He was talking about a player diving. I want to say it was Glenn Anderson. And he said that was a good dive. He pointed his toes as he went in the water. And I was like, wow, that is a really good call. I like that. So I will every now and then in a review say, I'm not going to say he dove, but he pointed his toes nicely when he went in the water, and the Russian judge scored him a 10. So it's out there. Kronwall. Yeah. Kronwall just means that the guy gets absolutely drilled. Nicholas Kronwall is one of those few players in the history of the NHL, played for the Red Wings, who is a verb. And there are players that are verbs, and Nicholas Kronwall is the best example of that. So if you see a guy get Kronwalled or you hear somebody talking about it, that means he got absolutely drilled, usually at the blue line or just inside the offensive zone. And then in the second column, you've got pucks in deep, which is a phrase used by players all the time in interviews. Yeah, we got to get pucks deep. You got to get pucks deep. And it just means you get the puck, you put it in their zone, and you keep it in their zone. You got to keep the puck in their end. And it's very simple terminology, and it drives fans insane. I get the feeling sometimes it drives other players insane, but yeah, get pucks deep. Slew foot. Slew foot's a dangerous play in hockey. Basically, you have your foot behind the other player, and then you throw them to the ice. And it's dangerous. Knee on knee is another dangerous one where you basically it's exactly what it sounds like, where you lock your knee and you catch the knee of the other player, and if you do it right, you injure the other player and you can take them out for a while. You can wreck their knee. So I don't see that as much as I used to. That used to be a pretty common play, was the knee on knee. You don't see that as often as you used to. Tie downs, fight strap. So if you buy yourself a jersey and you go, what's the point of this white stretchy strap in the back? That's because of guys like Gino Ogic and others, enforcers who during a fight would decide, I can fight better if I'm not wearing a jersey. They have nothing to hold on to. And it got ridiculous. It got ridiculous where guys are running around shirtless with all their gear off. And
I actually do remember seeing some shit like this. That's the funny part. I do remember seeing something like this.
They're looking for a fight. And the NHL realized that this just didn't look good. So they brought in the fight strap. And now if a guy's jersey comes off, and if they deem that the player meant for his jersey to come off, it can be a game misconduct. So the tie downs, the fight strap is there for that reason. I don't think that if you have a jersey you necessarily need a fight strap, but Adidas has decided we all need fight straps. I still think it's weird that the retail Adidas has fight straps, but I get it. I guess if you figure guys are going to wear them to play whatever hockey they're playing, I guess it works, but it's weird. And of course, I've already mentioned the yawning cage being an empty net, and that should be pretty self-explanatory as well. So there you go, some hockey terminology.